Welcome to the Self-Care 101 podcast with your host, straight-talking life coach, Puja McClymont. This show provides simple self-development, supporting you to embody your self-worth so that you can live the happier, more fulfilled life that you deserve without burning out. Thank you so much for listening today. Hello, it is season 2, episode 10, and I am super excited about today's show. I'm going to talk about creating space so that you can have more success in your life. Now, we're a people of doers, right? We're always doing one thing and then moving on to the next thing and basically just being on autopilot. Even me. This week has been a major life and work admin week because I'm moving house. So not only have I got a busy life in general, things like the school run, my work, seeing clients, all this lovely marketing stuff, socialising, keeping house, but I also added retail manager du jour into the mix as I'm selling loads of bits. Now I'm literally creating space this week, and each day that I clear out more stuff, the lighter I am feeling. I'm creating more space for life and more abundance, not just financial abundance, but I want space for living my life because I've recently learned that I've been perpetually stressed pretty much all of my life, and I'm sure that you're no different. So we start life off where? Education, to defining a career, making money so that we can buy a house, a car, nice things, travel more, getting a partner, then improving our career, making more money, marrying, kids, and the host of things that kids bring. Striving for your business, clients, relationships, health, my kids' inheritance. Now, I'm 41 this year, and I don't think there's ever been a time where I have just chilled the out and actually enjoyed my life. I don't think I've actually enjoyed my life. Always moving to the next thing and then the next thing, but not anymore. This is my biggest learning when I turned 40 last year and reflected. And luckily that coincided with the pandemic because honestly, I don't think I would have ever deeply reflected the way I did without the pandemic. And I've learned that I've been surviving on autopilot. And you know what? It's got to stop. It has to stop. I cannot continue to live my life this way. I've got another 40 years, if I'm lucky, to live my life, and I do want to do it differently. I want to get to my deathbed and say, I lived a great life. And if you do too, I hope you'll take the teachings from this show and apply it to your life right now. So let's get to it. So what does it mean to create space, right? Creating space. Now, creating space is basically about surrendering and letting go. Now, what this means is literally just doing nothing related to the things that you're feeling stuck about. So if you're focused on a work problem, create space, do nothing. If you're focused on a relationship issue, create space and do nothing. If you're focused on a health concern, create space and do nothing. Because if you focus on the thing that's jarring you, babe, you're just not going to find the answer. You're not. Because what you focus on is what you'll get more of. All right. So if you focus on, I can't solve this problem at work. I can't solve this problem at work. I need to solve this problem at work, but I can't solve this problem at work. And you go into overthinking overdrive with it. What you're doing is you're actually perpetuating the problem and just creating more of that same problem. But if you step away from the problem, if you create space to allow latent thinking to occur, that's when you'll actually get your answers. Creativity resides in the back of our brains. Literally, it's located in the back of our brains, but we spend most of our time using just the front, right? Just the front of our brains, focused on problem solving and constantly in fight or flight. So when you let go, and I'm talking about intentionally letting go, and I'm not talking about anything existential or spiritual. I'm literally talking more on the scientific, actually. But when you do let go, you will find that you start looking at things differently. You're going to feel more refreshed. And I guess most importantly, you'll have your answers. It's just like when you go on holiday and when you come back, you're ready to rule the world. How many of us have gone on holiday and you're like, I'm living my best life with my pina coladas on the beach? And then, who drinks pina coladas on the beach, by the way? And why is anyone drinking pina coladas still? Do you know that thing is literally just like a cup of cream? But anyway, I digress. But you're sitting there, you're loving up your holiday, everything's great, the sun is shining, you're getting pissed every night, you're eating steaks and you're eating fried breakfast every morning, you might go for a hike, you might taste something local, whatever, you're living it up, you're enjoying yourself. And you come home and you're refreshed and you're like, right. Or even before you come home, you're like, right, I'm going to do things differently. When I get home, I'm going to do this. I'm going to clear out the house. I'm going to start applying for new jobs. I'm going to go out, put myself out there, and I'm going to find a partner, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And you literally get off the plane at Heathrow or any international airport that is in your country, because I realize that the podcast is international. But you get off the plane in your home country, and you feel that thud of, shit, I'm back. I'm back at home. I'm not in Bali, sunning myself in my beautiful boutique villa with my private pool. I'm not at the Six Senses Spa in Dubai anymore. I am literally back home. And then all of those feelings of being home come back, all that stress, shit, I've got to go to work on Monday. I know that such and such is going to want her report by Tuesday. And then I've got a birthday party to plan. And then I've got this to do. And you just start back where you began before you hopped on that plane and went on holiday. Because you allowed yourself space, right? So you went on this holiday and you allowed yourself space, but you were so tired that you probably only got 2 or 3 days of real, relaxed holiday time. Because haven't you noticed when you go on holiday, the first couple of days you spend decompressing, like you're literally decompressing. You probably spend the first couple of days going all out with the drinking and the eating and the partying and the just, being in that space because you're away. And then you sort of think, a couple of days in, I can't do this for the whole holiday, then what's the point? So then you start like doing excursions and, experiencing more of the country that you're in. And then you start feeling the dread of, the holiday's finishing in a couple of days. So now I need to kind of start preparing to come back home. So you never actually let go. You go on this holiday to create this space to relax and you don't actually let go. Amazing, isn't it? So if you intentionally let go, you will start to look at things differently. You will feel more refreshed and you'll have your answers. So the next time you go on holiday, you are ready to rule the world rather than falling into the cycle of doing again, because essentially that's what you know. And what happens, that cycle is that nothing changes and you'll wait until your next holiday to repeat this whole cycle again. But I want to offer you this. What if you intentionally created this space in your week? Like as a normal thing that you do every single week in your life, you create space. And this space is just to do nothing. Okay? Nothing. Now your nothing could be a literal nothing, in terms of you just go for a walk and you just sit in the park and you just look at the trees, the grass, the people walking by. Nothing else. No music, no podcast, no audiobook, nothing. You could do it that way. You could use the do nothing to even learn something, but without forcing yourself to learn. So it's kind of like, it's not like you're taking a course or you're, wanting to learn a whole new subject about something, but you just, something that interests you, and you just lightly learn something new, but completely different to the thing that you might be frustrated about. Okay, so if you're frustrated about a work situation, don't start looking at different career opportunities and different industries and stuff like that, because that's going to be too jarring because it's related to work. Just, I don't know, read Harry Potter, do something completely different to what you are worried about or, stressing about. When you create this intentional space, you're going to, one, get more clarity, more often. Essentially, you're going to get that clarity more often. So you're going to be less stuck as a general rule. You're going to be able to solve your problems a lot more easily and a lot more efficiently. And two, this is the best bit, your holidays actually become more enjoyable. So when you get to the airport and you're looking at the boarding, what's it called? The boarding screen, right? And it says, go to gate. Oh, love those words. Oh, you really appreciate travel, huh? But those words, go to gate, and you're there and you're lining up to get onto the plane. Literally from that moment, you're not thinking, I can't wait to escape my life. You're thinking, I can't wait to experience Costa Rica and all that it brings to me. That's what you're thinking. But right now, what we do when we go on holiday, when we're not in a pandemic, is, I can't wait to sit and do nothing. But you can actually sit and do nothing in your day-to-day life. Last week, I had a really, really tough week. It was so tough that I was looking for jobs at Primark. It was one of those weeks where I felt really in despair. I felt like nothing was working. I was just full on. My life is a failure. No, it wasn't. It isn't. But I was in that zone. Turns out I was it was PMT as well. So totally premenstrual, very hormonal to a T. But I was in this state of despair, and I get in this state of despair every so often. So I would say once every 3 months, I think, what am I doing? Jack it all in, get a normal job and just, live your life. But when I was looking for jobs in this week of despair, I started looking at marketing jobs because that's been my professional career for so many years. And every job I looked at, I was just like, there was just this dull feeling in my physical body. And I'm like, why am I even looking? Why am I looking? I don't want to do marketing anymore. I don't want to be a marketeer for a company. I have no interest in it. I just don't. I only want to be the marketeer of my own company. That's it. And then I started looking more laterally. I was like, well, there might be some coaching related work. And I looked and it was just so lackluster. I was like, no, it's too cookie cutter. I don't want to do what you tell me to do. I want to come in and share the knowledge and the experience that I have from my life experience and from my theoretical experience to show people how to live better lives, to help people improve their lives so they aren't going to their deathbed thinking, God, I lived a great mediocre life. Who says that? No one says that, right? You want to feel like you've lived your life. And what are we talking about when it comes to living a great life? If you want to be a millionaire and live that life, that's fine. Do that, babe. But there are the majority of us who just want to live well, living well means taking chances. It means experiencing different countries. It means traveling. It means cooking great foods. It means being a great person to the people in your life. It means having experiences. It means being present. So many of the things that we think we want to do or think we even do, but we don't actually. And the reason why I say this is because the things that we might say we want to do, I've got great relationships. I've got great social life. I've got, but then we're lonely. And we feel like we can't get intimacy from anywhere else. And if we say, well, you need a hobby, it's like, listen, I'm too old to get a hobby. It's like a hobby isn't a bad thing. A hobby is what's actually going to keep you alive for longer. Last week, in this despair, it was a really rough week actually. And it was completely out of context. I'm not going to lie. It was completely out of context. Fully driven by hormones and the fact that because we're buying a place at the moment, money is going out. Literally as fast as the money is coming in, the money is just shooting out of the account because you're buying, right? You've got a surveyor to pay for. You've got, the mortgage payment to pay in advance. You've got this to pay for, that to pay for, solicitors' fees, starting to buy furniture. Oh my God, so many different things. So a lot of money is going out, and it's a lot of money. It's a significant amount of money that is leaving our accounts because we're buying, and it's part of the process, right? We know it's part of the process. The money is sitting there to be spent on this house, but to see it just flying out and the money not coming in at the same rate as it's flying out just feels quite overwhelming. But it's out of context, because actually last month was a good month in terms of my business. I did do okay. This month has only just started. And I feel very positive about this month. So there we go. It's just the context was completely out, but I went far into my overthinking spiral. Anyway, it was actually beneficial, because they say that when you hit rock bottom, you are more likely to succeed at the thing that you're trying to exceed. Succeed. And not that I, advocate rock bottom, but there is some science in that does work, because I'm a survivor. I'm a determined person. I'm not someone who's going to give up. I tried to give up once and it didn't work. So clearly it's not in my makeup. So I don't give up. I keep trying. But sometimes I've got to take myself. No, I shouldn't say sometimes I've got to. Sometimes I take myself to this state of despair, which is rock bottom for me, to bring myself back up. Now, there was something that happened last week that doesn't usually happen. My parents decided to... No, it wasn't even my parents, actually. Dwayne, my husband, he was feeling a bit stressed at work, and he said, can you ask your mum to have Micah on Friday night, and can we just do something together? Just do something. We can just go for a walk or go to the pub for dinner or something, but just do something. I need to just do something. And I was like, sure, okay. So Micah went to mum's at about 3:30 on Friday, and Dwayne came home at 6:30 or something like that, and we went for this massive long walk. We literally walked from where we live now to where our new house is. Crazy. But it wasn't actually that crazy. It was about a 45-minute walk. So it was really great. And we took a new route, and we discovered lots of things on the canal as we were walking. It was really lovely. I was not in the mood. Okay. So I was in a state of despair. I was not in the mood, but my person asked me for this, and I knew that there was a part of me that needed to do this as well, but I needed him to convince me. I didn't tell him that, and he did it. We've talked about this before. I'm like, when I'm in this headspace, you kind of need to force me to do the thing that's going to be helpful to me, but I need you to do it in the nicest way possible. Like, you need to be persistent, but you need to do it like making me laugh. That poor guy has to work so hard. Anyway, so he had to drag me out a little bit, right, to go on this walk, because I was not feeling it. But we went on this walk. Beautiful walk. The weather was really warm. It was a bit muggy, but it was nice. The sun was blazing in that evening. I mean, it was pissing down with rain earlier on, but it was beautiful that evening. We were walking back to the sunset. It was just like romantic, but it was just something that he needed, and honestly, I needed. After that, I had all of Saturday to myself, and I hadn't planned to have Saturday to myself. Micah wasn't planned to go to mum's that weekend. And I was like, oh, I know what I can do. Let me listen to the Mariah Carey audiobook. I've been wanting to listen to it since it came out, and I just don't have that kind of time. I just don't have that sort of 11 hours to dedicate. There's obviously no commute. My life is very full out of busy stuff, not necessarily full because it's so fulfilling. So it's just stuff. And so I had this time, and I was like, yeah, let me do that. I started listening to it because I decided, right, we had this wicked walk, probably about 20,000 steps. And I was like, I survived it. I woke up in the morning, and all I wanted to do was move my body. That was it. I've been trying to get into this headspace of moving my body, exercise every single morning since before my son was born. So over 5 years. And it happened. I woke up and I wanted to move my body. So I was like, without even thinking about it, I got on the exercise bike and I was listening to the audiobook and I started riding. It was like 45 minutes of it. Got off, had a shower, I was buzzing, got on with my day. An amazing day. For the entire day, my headphones were in and I just listened to Mariah's audiobook. It was amazing. It was amazing. The book is 11 hours long. I couldn't fathom when I was going to find 11 hours of listening time. And there it was there. And then the next day, the Sunday, Micah still wasn't coming home until later because I had a brunch date with a client. So I was like, okay, this is kind of good. I've got an hour and a half there on the train and an hour back. I've got another couple of hours to listen to this audiobook. The next morning, the same thing happened. I woke up and I wanted to move my body. I got on the bike. I did a walk. I was like, who are you? you know, when you just kind of look in the mirror and go, I feel like I know you, but you're a bit extra right now. I don't know who you are. And I was like, go me. Point was, I wanted to do it and I didn't feel anything about it. It was just easy. And I wanted more. I was like, what else can I do? Anyway, had this amazing brunch, came back, child came home, and when he went to bed, I had 1 hour left of this audiobook, so I listened to it. And it was so good I cried at the end. I thought, oh, that was such a satisfying listen. As a fan of Mariah, and this is not a plug for Mariah, this is just to give you context. As a fan of Mariah, following her career from the beginning, to get context on some of the songs that she's written and everything else, it just really felt very satisfying. It was like her closure as a fan. And then within that story was this story of a woman who, at the age of 12, despite the difficult time that she was having in her personal life, she believed that she was going to be Mariah Carey, who she is today, the star that she is today. Believed it in everything that she did. And I literally came off it. I cried a little bit because I found it because obviously it was quite overwhelming, 2 full days just listening to this thing. I found it quite overwhelming. I cried. It was like a nice release. And then I felt empowered. I felt fired up. I wanted more. I wanted to listen to more. So I downloaded another book and I listened to this book. It changed my mood. It changed my focus. I learned so much. And now I'm feeling powerful in a way that I haven't felt in years. And this power makes me able to serve you better. That's why I'm excited to do this show. That's why if you listen to my voice is actually quite soft. It's very excited, but I do want you to listen to what's going on in this show. All that happened was that space was created. Space was created through me physically walking, through me doing the exercise bike, through obviously the child being at mum's because I wouldn't normally have that time. But it was the better use of my time that changed things. Because I've noticed that if I want to use the exercise bike, my son doesn't actually bother me. In my head, I feel like he's going to bother me, so I don't do it. But he doesn't actually bother me. He gets excited. He wants to join in, but he doesn't bother me. He'll play in his bedroom because the bike's in my bedroom, and we will be in the same vicinity, but it doesn't bother me. But actually, even if I only exercised Monday to Friday, right, I can do it when I've dropped him off at school. I can go for a long walk in the morning. I can start my day differently. I can start my day the way I want to start my day. So I envision that my day starts in this way. But I haven't been doing it. For 5 years, I haven't been doing it. Because in those 5 years, I didn't create this kind of space where I let go, surrender, and was just being. Now, that's not to say that I was lazy for 5 years. It was that I hadn't given myself time and space to consider what is really important to me. In the bottom of my heart, the pit of my stomach, the most important thing for me is health. I want to live a long life. I want to have another baby. I want to have as much of my life with my son and my husband and the people in my life now and the people that are coming into my life as the years progress. And I want to enjoy that. And I really want to enjoy that. I want to be in that moment of my life. I want to be in that state of perpetual thriving. And that space has just changed everything. Everything. I've had the most productive week I've ever had. I've realized that actually I should do this in my work instead of doing this. I should put my attention here. If I'm good at this, then I need to do more of this. I don't need to do that bit that is stressful, that jars me, that annoys me, that puts me in a negative headspace. Just stop. I have been moving my body for 5 days straight, or 6 days straight. And I have not been able to achieve this in 5 years. 5 years. All because I created intentional space. Because what I didn't do, and this is what I normally do, if Micah has my mum, no, the other way around, if my mum has Micah, what I usually do with that time is housework, right? So I will clean the house, tidy the house, blah, 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 and then I'm exhausted. I didn't do that this time. The house was in order because I wasn't planning on having him go to my mum's that weekend. The house was already in order for us to have a fun weekend together. So I didn't have to do all those things. So there was this space that was created. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I sat there and I was like, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? What can I do? What do I like to do? And I was having a real moment of like questions that I would normally ask my clients. I was like, oh my God, I'm in the same position right now. I don't know what to do. And I found it obviously geeky as a coach. I found it really exciting. And I really coached myself in this moment. I was like, what do I want to do? And I was like, I want to listen to the right audiobook. And that's what I did. I want to move. I'm going to move. I don't know when, how, what, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move. I was moving around the house, obviously the walks, the bike. Insane. Lost a couple of pounds that week too. Bonus. But it didn't feel like exercise. It didn't feel like dieting. It didn't feel like I was forcing myself to have pleasure and joy. It just happened because I created space. If you want to improve your health, create space. Don't focus on the thing you want to improve on. Focus on creating space so that you can naturally and pleasurably do what you need to do. Think about the good things about food that you enjoy. Think about good things about moving your body, easy things. For me, it was, I get to listen to that audiobook if I go for a walk every single day. I get to listen to that podcast every day if I go on the exercise bike or go for a walk. Because the exercise bike is basically because we live in the UK and the weather is, you get 5 days of sunshine a year. So the exercise bike is essentially for those rainy days. But I got myself into it. I like it. So, it works for me. And then if it's something like you want a relationship or you want to improve your relationship, create space by having more meaningful relationships. We're conditioned to find happiness in partners, but that's false. That's false. Humans need connection, need meaningful connection with any type of other human being. It's just connection. And we need to do it by looking at things differently. We need to look at meaningful connections in a different way. More on this next week. Maybe you want some more clarity with work. But if you focus on the frustration, you're only going to get more frustration. And that's why you need to create this space and let go for a bit. Trust that by letting go, you will get the answer. If you can't in your mind accept that letting go is actually going to give you the answer, just tell yourself that letting go will give me the answer. When I'm with a client, for instance, I create that space when I ask them a challenging question. And then there's a long silence. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to ask you a challenging question. What do you want to say when you are on your deathbed and somebody asks you, how was your life? Are you going to say, I lived a great mediocre life? Or are you going to say, I lived a great life? Miracles happen when you create space. Thank you for listening to the Self-Care 101 podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate and review over on Apple Podcasts so that other people like you can find the show. For more information about the work I do, head over to my website, PujaMcClymont.com, and for daily inspiration, please follow me on Instagram at Puja McClymont. Sending love and talk to you soon.